These are the 10 most overpushed wrestlers. 2025 has basically become the year of Jey Uso, and I don't think many fans asked for that. WWE has handed him moment after moment, and the reaction has been the exact opposite of what they wanted. Let's just run through the disasters. First, you've got the Royal Rumble win. Jey eliminating John Cena was the beginning of the rejection. The YouTube numbers do not lie. You've got 29,000 likes and 50,000 dislikes. It is clear that we all wanted John Cena to win that Rumble. We would have also been fine with CM Punk, but at the end of the day, we did not want Jey Uso. But it only got worse from there. At WrestleMania, Jey actually beat Gunther to win the world title, and that video exploded with negativity. It got 45,000 likes and 114,000 dislikes. Most people were not happy about Gunther losing the belt to him, and WWE realized that because that reign ended just after a few months. Then WWE doubled down again recently, and Jey won a battle royal to face CM Punk for the world title, and that video got 93,000 dislikes. This overpush is getting tiring. The audience loves the Yeet entrance, but they don't connect too much with this character anymore because he really doesn't have one. He went from emotional layered storytelling in the bloodline to a walking catchphrase. If WWE really wants to save Jey Uso, they need to turn him heel because they've done so much damage that he's got to work with a completely fresh start. Next up is Triple H's other favorite toy, and that is the current Golden Boy, QB1, and WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. Now don't get me wrong, we need to admit that Cody is insanely talented. He connects with the crowd, and he's one of the top stars in the business right now. But that doesn't change the fact that WWE has been over pushing this man to the moon. Even before he came back to WWE, we saw it happen in All Elite Wrestling. Cody was booked like an unstoppable hero of his own universe, and the fans eventually turned on him. It got so bad that he refused to go heel. The crowd hijacked his segments, and it's one of the reasons why he left the company. Fast forward to WWE, and they're basically doing the same thing with him. The second that he came back, he buried Seth Rollins even while wrestling with a torn pec, which was impressive, but it also sent a very clear message. Cody is unstoppable. Since then, WWE has strapped a rocket to his back. He won the Royal Rumble twice, became King of the Ring, ended Roman's historic title reign, and pinned John Cena, and basically wins almost every match. Now, to Cody's credit, most fans still do love him for now, but the internet is slowly starting to complain about him, and we've seen how quickly a crowd can turn when a babyface feels too invincible. The WWE is playing a dangerous game here because if they don't balance this out, eventually Cody might get the same treatment that he got in AEW, and once the audience decides that you're overpushed, it is tough to overcome that. You can't make an overpush list without talking about Jinder Mahal. For the majority of his career, Jinder was a jobber. His main role was getting other talent over. Then he left, got absolutely shredded, and Vince McMahon fell in love. Within weeks, Jinder beat Randy Orton to win the WWE Championship. It was one of the most forced, out-of-nowhere pushes of the modern-day era, and fans never bought into it. There was no organic rise. He didn't have a meaningful character shift, and there was definitely no momentum on his side. It was just a random push for no real reason other than the fact that he had an amazing body transformation. That reign only lasted a few months, and then reality corrected itself. Jinder dropped the title, he slid back down the card, and that was that. To this day, it stands out as one of the clearest examples of WWE trying to manufacture a top star out of nowhere. Jinder was fine, but there was never a single point in time when the fans believed that he should be the WWE champion. Another wrestler who was treated like a main event star for absolutely no reason is Jack Swagger. To this day, I still don't understand how he won the Money in the Bank briefcase and then went on to hold multiple world championships. There was no real demand for him. Nobody cared for it. Swagger wasn't booed. He wasn't cheered. He was basically met with just pure silence, and silence is probably worse than go away heat. It means that the audience couldn't care less. What's even more baffling is that WWE tried it twice. twice. His first world title run was a flop, and instead of learning from that, they tried again and it failed. It always felt like WWE wanted to recreate Kurt Angle, but they failed to realize that he did not have any charisma or personality. Even years later, he came back to WWE in 2016 and he cut a promo, and this was the crowd's reaction.
I'm gonna be a big problem.
As you can see, the crowd didn't want any more of Jack Swagger. Thankfully, they realized and did not push him a third time. Nepotism runs wild in WWE, and Charlotte Flair might be the most obvious example of it. I want to be very clear, I think Charlotte is phenomenal in that ring. You can easily make the argument and say that she's one of the best women wrestlers of all time. But talent aside, there's no denying that WWE has overpushed her. She's held 18 championships, and 14 of those are world titles. Every time she takes a break, she comes back straight into the main event scene like she never left. After years of the same formula, the audience eventually got sick of it, the boos got louder, the reactions got worse, and WWE had to rewrite multiple storylines because the crowds were outright rejecting her. Charlotte's biggest problem isn't her ability, because like I said, she's one of the best in the ring. The fans absolutely respect her skill, but they're tired of seeing her win the same title in the same way every single time. The only thing that started to cool down the backlash is her brief tag team run with Alexa Bliss, which gave her something different to do. She's an all-time great, but even greatness can get stale when it's shoved down your throat every year. The only other woman making this list is Mercedes Money. We're not even going to include her WWE run because honestly I think she was pushed pretty fairly there. The problem started after she left WWE. Sasha Banks believed that she deserved a lot more, so she left WWE and reinvented herself as Mercedes Money, and somehow she became the real version of that Triple H meme. Just look at this picture with 6 belts all at once, and now she's won 4 more, calling herself 10 belts Money. Look, she's great and talented, just like Charlotte. She's one of the best in the world, but even this is too much. There's even reports saying that she's got some creative control. You can see why wrestlers should not have that kind of power. Mercedes is basically out here over pushing herself. Every company she steps into, she immediately becomes the champion, and it's gotten to the point where it's not even impressive anymore. It's honestly kind of corny. I'm a big believer in the man makes the belt philosophy, and I'd rather focus on one great title run than trying to collect titles like your Thanos. Speaking of over pushing yourself, let's talk about the king of that, and that's Triple H. Once he started dating Stephanie McMahon, it was pretty much game over for everyone else in WWE. The moment that relationship began, his career went from being a top guy to the final boss of the company. Just look at his early 2000s run. From 2002 through 2004, he basically owned the World Heavyweight Championship, and people literally call it the Reign of Terror because it was a never-ending nightmare of burying so much talent. The list of victims is long. You've got Booker T, RVD, Kane, and Goldberg. These were all guys who should have had huge moments but got fed to the game instead. And look, Triple H is an all-time great, but during that era, he had a stranglehold on WWE. If you were getting hot, he'd find a way to make sure that your momentum ended with a pedigree. It wasn't best for business, it was only best for himself. While John Cena is universally loved by the WWE universe today, there's a long stretch of time when fans could not stand him. Vince McMahon failed to realize that while John Cena was popular, the people did not want to see him win every single time. He was shoved down everyone's throats to the point when fans started calling him Super Cena. It didn't matter what the odds were. He could have taken 2 finishers, a chair shot, a table bump, and Cena was still going to kick out at 2. During his peak, beating John Cena was like trying to pin a superhero who refused to lose. The fans grew sick of it, and the boos got louder, the chants got nastier like we saw at One Night Stand, and the crowd literally split in half. Every week you'd hear "Let's Go Cena" followed immediately by "Cena sucks," and it became a part of his identity. The sad part is a lot of fans did not appreciate what they had until he was gone. Vince could have cooled him off or reinvented him years earlier, but he just kept pushing him as the same unbeatable guy. By the time people finally started giving Johnson his flowers, it was already the end of his full-time run. You would think after the Johnson experiment, Vince would have learned his lesson, right? Nope, because then came Roman Reigns and somehow Vince managed to overpush him even worse than John Cena. Roman had less charisma and personality than John Cena, and the fan base absolutely refused to accept him as the guy. From 2014 through 2019, WWE tried everything, but nothing worked. The harder they pushed him, the louder the boos got. The night after he defeated The Undertaker at WrestleMania might be the most hostile reaction a babyface has ever received. It was an entire arena booing him for 10 minutes straight, while Roman just stood there silently. It wasn't until years later, when Roman reinvented himself as the Tribal Chief, that he finally became the superstar Vince always wanted him to be. If only they had pulled that trigger sooner. Instead, what we got was one of the longest, most painful attempts to manufacture a hero that the fans never asked for. Roman's first run will forever be remembered as WWE's worst failed experiment in trying to force a top guy down our throats. And at number 1, there's really no debate, it's Hulk Hogan. He's the most overpushed wrestler of all time. Now, to be fair, Hogan was absolutely essential for WWE in the 80s. Without him, the company probably would not have become the empire it is today. He was the face of wrestling. But when we talk about being overpushed, nobody did it quite like the Hulkster. Hogan refused to lose to almost anyone. He didn't want to put over Bret Hart, which led to that weird WrestleMania ending where the entire storyline got thrown out the window just to give Hogan another feel-good moment. Then he took that same ego to WCW, where they gave him creative control and he basically destroyed the company from the inside. He abruptly left WWE in the early 2000s when he didn't get a bigger contract. Then he came back later, refused to put over Shawn Michaels, and then beat Randy Orton in his final WWE match. And if that wasn't enough, he went to TNA and did the exact same thing that he did in WCW. Hogan wasn't just overpushed, he defined the word. In fact, if a wrestler today gets overbooked, the fans will literally call them blank Hogan, like Becky Hogan. That tells you everything you need to know. He is the most overpushed guy of all time. Anyways, that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.